Let's talk social media engagement.
Sounds good.
Um, I get a lot of questions on my Instagram account, which you can follow me on James Phillip 313 on Instagram. But slowly built that account up over the 50,000 followers, and going all the way back to when I had like 7 or 8,000 followers, I would get DMs saying, "Wow, you got a lot of followers," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's just a number, man. I really don't care."
Yeah.
But since about that was kind of tipping point. I would say like 7,500 was when people really started to pay attention. As if who are you? I'm a guy that likes tacos and I write stuff on the internet. Like I got nothing for your profile, and you're not going to see me on TV. But since then, the questions were, how do you get your account built up? And my one of the keys, Kane, is I respond to almost everybody that I can.
Yep. Yep.
You send me a DM, I'm at least going to double tap the heart. If you ask a question, if I have time, I'll answer it. If you make a comment, 90% chance I'm going to respond or tap the heart. Very easy stuff, right? And it's like, oh, it must be time consuming. It's not really. I can sit on a conference call and go through and just acknowledge post. Like I can multitask, right? And one of the keys here is not to just get people to like follow you. The trick is getting people to stay. And I think that's something that is greatly overlooked when it comes to building any kind of social media presence. My LinkedIn got built up, my Instagram got built up, mostly through acknowledgement. And if you acknowledge people, they'll stick around. So it takes effort. And I think a lot of times we just want to get on the internet and then just kind of like with the bullhorn, it's blast, blast, blast. And everyone's just supposed to kind of consume. And then when they come back at you, I would say a bulk of people just don't ever respond.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you felt that before.
Oh yeah.
I have, friends that are, got the blue check mark. I don't even follow them. But, if I send them a comment or a DM or something, like I know these people, they don't respond to it. They don't acknowledge it. Because they're just not paying attention to any of it. And, some of these accounts are smaller and some are larger. And you think if someone's got, a blue check mark with 20,000 followers, they would, probably respond to somebody. No, they don't. And if you got someone with 1 million followers, you can understand they probably get obliterated with messages every day. But it's like I know these people and they won't even like my comment or respond or it's, and I don't take it personally. What I'm trying to tell you is a lot of people just don't put that effort in or they don't care. So if you're a celebrity where you constantly got people coming to you, it's your account kind of grows itself. For everyone out there that's trying to build an account, you're trying to build a name, you're trying to build a brand, you have to engage. You have to hit the heart button on a comment. You have to respond to that comment. You have to double tap that heart, and when someone sends you a DM, you need to respond to that DM. These are all things that I've done consistently for years. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, Kane, once you get the followers, then you want to make them fans of whatever it is you do. But you have to keep them. So it's one of those things where you might be adding 100 followers a day, but if you're losing 150, things go backwards pretty quick. Mm-hmm. So the goal is you don't want it to be that counterproductive where you get to the point where you get 100,000 followers and you're losing like 400 or 500 people a day. And if you're gaining 500 people a day, you're kind of stagnant. If you want to keep them, you need to engage. So right. I don't know if you ever saw those things where someone posts a question on Instagram and then you answer it. Mm-hmm. Yep. And they never post your response.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's irritating. I try to do those as much as I can because people want to see their thing up there. It's like when you're walking in New York and you go by the news station and you see the camera and you kind of walk by the camera and you want to see yourself on TV, right?
Yeah.
People want to see the response posted. People want to be acknowledged. And the fact that they can reach out and touch you and get a response sometimes makes them feel special. Mm-hmm. If they can see the response posted to the question, it makes them feel special. But it's just, again, it's like I know there's people I know in real life that I respond to their stuff, and I realize they're just ignoring everybody. It's like, then why'd you post a question? If you're not going to post the responses, why are you asking? So these are just some lessons I learned trying as I built an account up to 50,000 followers, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if have you had general frustrations when you're trying to engage with people, their brands on social media before?
Oh, 100%. I don't do it as much anymore, but I used to throw questions, legitimate questions at people that aren't even famous. Just like maybe business people have try and ask them I'm not even talking about famous business people. I'm talking about just random people that have like maybe 50 followers and then you don't get a response. But one thing that I wanted to ask you, James, and I think we've known each other a long time, and I remember when you were at the initial stages of building that especially the Instagram account. You've always had that mentality, which is like you're going to respond to every single, or at least as much as you can. You said that you're trying to tap into acknowledgement. Was that always the genesis of that, or like what was the thinking early days to interact with everybody?
Yeah, there was somebody I watched on a Discovery Channel show, and they made a certain product, and they were kind of becoming a celebrity, let's say at the time. And there's something I wanted them to build for me. And I remember firing off an email and then getting a response that night from that person. And I thought, you'd get some customer service person 2 weeks later saying we can't do it. And the person responds fast. It's actually them, and they're saying, I could do all this, and this is what I would do. And like the fact that they responded kind of made me like a fan for life.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've had similar experiences like that where you're kind of thinking that I'm going to reach out to somebody. I mean, hell, if you go through Google and you search on something, you call 5 businesses, you're lucky if 2 call you back.
True.
It's crazy from that perspective. But I remember early on, before Mark Cuban really got big, I think you used to be able to email him or BlackBerry message him, and he would respond. And it's one of those things that even he was doing something way back then. It's probably 20 years ago. We're talking BlackBerry stuff, right?
Yeah.
Let's play some Brick Breaker. Or was it Brick Breaker? I don't know. I played way too much of that game, but he knew that kind of engaging with your audience was a big deal, as he was, building a name up and becoming a bazillionaire. So I saw these things that I liked as a person, as a fan, as a customer. It's like, well, I would want to bring that same experience to if I'm building a social media presence for my books, for my companies, for my writings, just for music, whatever it is that I want to do. If I want to build an audience, knowing that I'm not on TV, I'm not a celebrity, I'm nobody, right? In order for nobody to do that, you're going to have to put the work in and engage with people. So, from day one on that account, I was, engaging, acknowledging, commenting, sharing as much as possible with people.
Mm-hmm.
So if you leave me a message, I'm going to respond. That if you post an answer to a question, assuming it's not you're not the same repetitive response as 5 other people put up, that I'm going to post it. And I think a lot of times on social media, we leave comments and we leave hearts and we leave replies on questions. And it's like you're just dumping thoughts into a black hole. Yep. And it ends up becoming a waste of time. And I feel like if you come to my profile, it won't be a waste of time. I might say something sarcastic back, but I'll acknowledge you, right? Yeah. All in fun.
For sure. What's been the hardest thing to kind of adapt to as the accounts grow?
There was times when, peak COVID, right, where people were on their mobile devices nonstop because we were stuck at home. So my, the views on my stories were crazy high. Engagement on everything was crazy high. I was waking up some mornings with like 500 messages,
Oh wow.
and it's at that point it's like, okay, how do I get through this? It's one of those things you just chip away at it through the day. And again, when I'm doing something that's kind of, I hate saying wasting time because I don't like wasting time, but I'm on hold for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I can't read I'm not gonna read a book, so I go through and I try to just double tap on stuff, respond when I can. You got the people that kind of roll through. I post a lot of music on my Instagram, for example, so I might have 20 story posts sometimes, but you got those people that are roll through and just they kind of like leave they respond to every story post. So you got 20 story posts and one person like hits heart on all of them, and it's 20. That used to be 20 DMs. They changed it now.
I
But
see.
then 10 people do that, and now you have 200 messages, and it kind of drowns out some of the other people. But you figure out ways to deal with that. Instagram made it a little better, but they just kind of give you a tally in your story now versus every time someone like puts a fire on a story, it doesn't go to your DM, it just shows you a count.
I
So
see.
Instagram is, I mean, at least on my account, I don't know what it is for other people's accounts. So those things made it easier to mitigate, but I mean, I can see if you had 1 million followers, it's probably not sustainable. But right now we're talking about how do I get from 0 to 10,000 to 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, and so much of that is retaining the audience.
Yeah.
It does get to a point, at 10,000, if you're losing 1% a week, and you think about, well, if I'm at 50,000 and losing 1% a week, that's a lot of people every week you got to make up for. So if you want to keep growing account, not only do you got to make up for the lost people, then you got to get the positive growth. And you see people kind of fizzle out when they get around 12,000. You see a lot of 12,000 accounts. And I think it's because they just end up losing more than they're gaining every day.
I see.
But
I see.
again, if you're not, the goal should be to make people fans of you. If you can, not just a follower, if you can make them a fan of you, if they look forward to seeing your posts, they find you entertaining, regardless of what it is you do, they're fans. Those people will stick around. It's a lot easier to make people fans when you're engaging with the crowd, for example.
Mhm.
But I'm sure you've seen brands do this as well, where there's just no engagement from a brand.
Yep.
And you see some people, especially on Twitter, they're pretty crafty with their, Twitter responses, and they're fun. But when you're trying to build up some brand equity online and you're just not acknowledging anybody, that's tough, man, because people just don't become fans of your product overnight for the most part.
Right. Right.
So, right. Not just personal. You see that on companies making that same mistake.
That's true. I mean, it's called social media for a reason, right? It's a two-way street. Can't expect to just publish or distribute your stuff and have everybody love it without having to give anything back.
No, but I think that's like the ego part of it, right? It's
Yep.
The people that are like, I'm an influencer. It's like, man, you shouldn't. People call you an influencer. You shouldn't call yourself an influencer. Right. It's like, I know you got a pet peeve about this, but the people that call themselves thought leaders.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe I don't know if it's you. I'm thinking of somebody else. You don't call yourself a thought leader. Other people call you thought leaders. And I think that's the same thing with like influencer. It's like creating your own nickname, and that's never right. Like the best nicknames are when other people give you a nickname or you earned it from doing something. But it's that, I think that ego gets in the way of like, I got 10,000 followers. I don't got to respond to nobody. Or they think that's right. That's what the celebrities do. So that's how I'm going to act. And the problem is you're not a celebrity. And, I think I even told one buddy, it's, blue check mark. It's like, man, you want to grow your account more, start engaging with people. Start making it more fun. Start responding. Let these people know. If you want these people to buy something from you, because, it's that thought of, you could have 1 million followers and then you could put something up for sale and then like 7 people buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And you realize it's like, well, then those are followers. Now the fans are going to buy the stuff. So if you really want to keep that longevity, and you want to, no matter what you do, you want to put a book out and they buy it. You put a piece of art out and they buy it. You're in a movie, they're going to watch it. You want to make people fans, but it's really hard to make people fans when they're, nonstop commenting on your stuff and there's no response whatsoever. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I get it. As accounts get bigger, again, I'm trying to talk about, average Joe out there who's trying to build up a little bit of a following. You got a brand new product or a service. You're trying to build a brand up for a startup company or a small business. Nothing's going to get you there faster than actually engaging with the crowd.
Mhm. That makes sense.
Yeah. Takes effort and it takes work, but find me things in life that or end up being great where you didn't have to put an effort in work.
That's true. That's true.
But any parting thoughts on this one?
No, I mean, the only thing that's going through my mind right now is like the ROI of investing the time and stuff, and there is, right? Because I forget who it was it Seth Godin or somebody says that you only really need 1,000 fans and you can make a living, because like you said, they'll buy whatever it is you put out there. So I mean, if like if you can engage your way to a couple thousand followers, I think there's definitely an ROI there.
Fans, though, right? You got to get a couple thousand fans.
Sorry, fans. Yeah.
And that's where I think people get lost. And yeah, you want fans, you need to engage.
Yep.
Or you need to be on TV and be a celebrity, right? And that's you can't look at those people and say, that's how they do it, so that's what I'm gonna do. Or this brand, Taco Bell, is really successful doing this, and then so you're not Taco. You're a local franchise and you got 3 stores. You're gonna have to be a little more creative, and you got to reach out and touch people. The owner over there is gonna have to like take photos with the customers. Like there's things you're gonna have to do that Taco Bell doesn't have to do. So just getting in that mindset of, who knows what the real ROI on social media is. I think for a lot of people it's nothing or less than nothing. But when it's done right, that ROI can be great. But you realize that usually comes from putting effort into things.
Yep, definitely.
That's all I got for this one. I'll catch you on the next one.
All right, thanks.